Kto nie pamięta historii skazany, jest na jej ponowie przeżycie. George Santayana.
From the beginning, the whole issue of concentration camp deals with the fact that they, I think I mentioned before, the idea was to leave the official state intact. In other words, there was initially the Nazi constitution, the German constitution. It was going to be a legal state. And therefore the question was, what are you going to do? What are you going to do about those who did not conform? Socialists, communists, Jehovah's Witnesses, they committed no crime, but they did not conform. The concentration camp is a framework where you come in, you're put in, you're thrown in, no need for trial, and you become an inmate. But just like a prison, the idea is that not to kill you. The idea of concentration camp is not killing, but rather re-education. Since you don't conform, they'll teach you how to conform. It's hard labor. It is re-education. Ideology, and there's a lot of terror in there. A lot of people die because of the conditions, but that's not the point. The idea is not to kill. The idea is to create a new kind of a person that will conform with the ideology of the state, and therefore, coming in, you'll undergo a similar process to a prison where you change your identity. You are becoming a prisoner, you're an inmate. Your name is taken away, clothes are taken away, and the idea is to turn you into a person that conforms. Okay, but in the process, of course, a lot of people die, and much of it has to do with terror. The terror in a concentration camp is inherent. It's built in.
In the next clip, Mr. Barmore is recalling a time where he brought the daughter of a Holocaust survivor to Auschwitz, even though her father did not want her to go. This is an example of how the experiences of Holocaust survivors made it difficult for them to share the truth with their children and others.
It was where they held all the documentation. And I knew, because I've been here before, quite a few times, that in the archives, if you gave the number of the person, they could look up the card. Or if you told them the date of the arrival, they could also look up the card and of that person, the card that was filled here. So we had a break. I take her to the archives. I knew some people there. She gives his number, and in 5 minutes they bring her father's card. And they say, he arrived on such a date, his wife was so-and-so, his kids were so-and-so. She says, well, that's not my father. He did not have a wife and kids. And then she looks at me, and I look at her, and the lady falls. The lady falls. Because this is where she learned for the first time that her father had a whole family before. And this is when she found out. This is when she found out that he had a family. Anyway, she went back to Israel. Of course, she confronted her father and he had to tell her the story. But I remember she was in her 40s. She was in her 40s when she found out that her father had a family.